ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always just ice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. So I pause for having completed this first installment. Cantor Adam, you want to lead us, and then David and Lori Beth, you'll light the Shabbat candles for us.
If you're following along in the prayer book in the Siddur, you can join us on page 10. In the middle. Yetid nefesh av hakachaman mishloch avdecha eretz onecha yarutz avdecha kemo
Yedid Nefesh, the beloved of my soul, the beloved of my Nefesh. I'm thinking about Amanda Gorman, this opening. For we lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none, but rather harmony for all. I think that is it's such a Yedid Nefesh kind of sentiment. And David, in honor of your birthday, which January 21st. I didn't realize that was your birthday. It happened to be the birthday of my beloved dad. Makes me happy that you share a birthday. I think lighting Shabbat candles is actually trying to deliver the same kind of message. How do we reach out, open our arms so that we can reach out our arms? How do we actually not seek harm, but actually seek harmony? So, David and Lori Beth, for folks who reach out your arms and strive in so many ways, in so many different moments. Oh my gosh, look at your two beautiful children. How you guys doing?
Good.
So good to see you. Go for it. Light. Bring light into your home and into our lives.
Wrong side.
Yeah, first light and then bless. There you go. You know that. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik shel Shabbat.
Amen. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope it was you did something fun.
Yes, I walked from the dining room to the living room and back.
What did you do something fun yesterday?
Yes, I walked from various rooms in my house. It was very fun.
Okay. Or at least you're safe. You're keeping healthy.
We cooked a big dinner for him. We cooked a big happy birthday dinner with a cake and everything.
Excellent. Great.
We
All
turned
right.
to
Many
page
more, David.
12.
Many more.
Thank you.
More, huh? To
Happy
120.
birthday, David.
Sorry.
Lecho nerhanena l'Adonai Nariya letzor yishenu
Page 12.
Nekad mafanav betoda bizmirot Nariya lo.
Page 13.
As we begin a new chapter in the land, we sing a new song, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Shemo, Basu miyom liyom Yeshuato, Sapru v'goyim kevodo, Bechol ha'amim niflotav, Ki gadol Adonai, Umchulal me'od, Norahu, Al kol Elohim, ay, Ki kol Elohei, Hamim elilim, Adonai shamayim asa, Od v'chadar lefanav, Od v'tiferet b'mikdasho, Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, Ilalai, lalai, alalalai, Yiram hayam, Umlo, Yalo sadai, V'chol asher bo, ay, Az yerannu kol hatzeyar, Lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'yamim be'emunato, yalai, lalai, lalai, yalalalai, yai, lai, 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 Continue on page 14 with Psalm 97. Adonai malach tegel haaretz, yismechu im rabim anan rafel sevivam, tzedek u'mishpat michol kiso.
O you who love Adonai, hate evil. God guards the lives of God's loyal ones, saving them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous. Or Zarua Latzadik, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name.
שומר נפשות חסידיו, מיד רשעים יצילם. אור זרוע לצדיק, וישרה לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק, וישרה לב שמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו. לצדיק וישרה לב שמחה.
So before we turn to the Chadodi, second part of Amanda Gorman's poem, let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promise to Glade. The hill we climb, if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. L'chadodi on page 20.
לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ששמו תפארת בלי תילה. לך דודי מקרא כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי מקרא כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. יאללה לה 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 לה, 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 יאללה לה 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 לה. Verse 5. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 9. We rise in our hearts to greet one another and the Sabbath Queen. בואי ושלום ועטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. יאללה לה 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 לה, 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 יאללה לה 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 לה.
Turn from Chadodi on page 20 to Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, our psalm for the Sabbath day, on page 22, a psalm for the day of Shabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. So good it is to feel grateful, to be in a place of gratitude and praise of all that we hope for and all that might be. Page 22.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בגינות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, Nitzamele Shimcha Elyon. We transition to the indented part at the bottom of the page. Tzadikata Yifrach Ke'erez Balvanon Yisgeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Elohim Teshenim Verananim Lehagid Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo
Shalom Aleichem, peace upon you, peace unto all of us, each of us, an angel coming and going, bringing as best we can peace with us to our destination and leaving it and from wherever we're departing. Page 24, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lochem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barachuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei
The angels of Shalom Aleichem can fly, actually. They can soar. We can soar. And the reason it's right before the Baruch Hu is if we learn to soar, then it helps us to rise for the Baruch Hu. So if you'd like to rise on page 28, please feel free to do so as we offer Baruch Hu.
Yai, lai, 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 lai.
Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath, just the breath, guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, Amari Ha'elohim, Ahavat Olam et Yisrael,
32.
Torah u'mitzvot, chokim u'mishpatim, otanu
All of these things the Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer type of your And these areas of the real works, what gives it
אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Page 36. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Before we turn to Micha Mocha on page 40, let me offer the third installment from Amanda Gorman's beautiful poem, so fitting for Micha Mocha, which is Micha Mocha, the prayer for redemption. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour. But within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. We turn to Micha Mocha on page 40.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם
Page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים זה אלי ענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני קהל ישראל
42.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Vehamidenu shomreinu shomreinu lechayim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Vehamidenu shomreinu shomreinu lechayim Ufros aleinu Suchat shlomecha Ufros aleinu Suchat shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai Aporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim
Apares Sukkot Shalom. The Sukkah of Shalom, we spread it out. We spread it. We stretch it as wide as we possibly can. How wide can you go? Your wingspan is how far? Can you stretch that Sukkah of peace beyond the tips of your fingers even? We can. And you do all the time. Vishamru on page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. We normally right now would be opening our lips to pray, but first the rabbi will have something to say.
I'm gonna
Part 4 of the poem.
exactly. Amanda Gorman's final passage. But one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze pounded chest, we will raise this wonderful world into a wondrous one. We will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. Oh my God, what did I just do? Oops, that's funny. That's what happens when you're on. How did that happen? Oh, here it is. Sorry. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. We rise for the Amidah on page 46.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 50. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
52.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Take a moment for our own personal prayer, and we'll come back in just a few moments.
This week we have so much to be thankful for, so much gratitude, feeling the unity that is developing in our country, and we are so grateful. And so I'd ask you to join with me in expressing our gratitude to the one who is good, Hatov. As we say, Modim Anachnu Lach, we are grateful to you, Adonai. On page 58, the third paragraph at the top of the page. Ahatov, Ahatov, ki lo chalu rachamecha, vehamrachem, vehamrachem, ki lo tamucha sadecha. Hatov ki lo chalu rachamecha, ve'amrachem ki lo tamu chasadecha. Me'olam kivinu lach, modim anachnu lach. Hatov, 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 Hatov ki lo rachamecha, ve'hamrachem, ve'hamrachem, ki lo tamu chasadecha. Hatov ki lo chalu rachamecha, ve'hamrachem, ki lo tamu chasadecha. Me'olam kivinu lach, modim anachnu lach. Me'olam kivinu lach, modim anachnu lach. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim ne'olam.
Page 60, 60.
Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim ne'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim ne'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim ne'olam. V'tov b'yeinecha levadecha. את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל. שלום.
This prayer of healing in our lips and our hearts. We offer our Misha Berach, a prayer for healing, with the prayer for peace, a Shalom Rav in our hearts. Please feel free to add the name of a loved one in the chat. And Cantor Davis is going to share with us, I think, a new setting that he composed for.
Actually, this is a setting by Cantor Lisa Levine, Cantor Rabbi Lisa Levine. And I know we've done at other times, and I'd like to use it tonight. It's not in our Shabbat prayer book. It is in our High Holiday prayer book. And I think we've used it on the High Holidays, but because the nation is still healing, this setting happens to use the words "and heal us and bless us" as well. And so as we're praying for the healing of our loved ones and those whose names we hold in our hearts and those whose names are in the chat bar, let's keep our nation in our thoughts as well, the healing of our hearts and for our countrymen and women. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzhak, veYaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and be strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with the vision for tomorrow. Help us reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mi shebeirach avotenu, mi shebeirach imotenu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Beautiful, beautiful prayer for healing. We go from that prayer for healing of our bodies, our souls as individuals. And dear Roberta, your birthday is tomorrow, so an early couple hours. Happy birthday to you. And would you lead us in our prayer for the congregation, dear Roberta?
Sure. Prayer for our congregation. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Amen.
Amen. Thank you
Happy
so much,
birthday.
Roberta. Happy
Thank you.
birthday. And so with this prayer for healing and a prayer for our congregation and our mouth and our hearts and minds, we turn to Rabbi Tara with her message for this evening.
Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is called Parashat Bo, and it is action-packed. We have our last three plagues, Arbe, locusts, Choshech, darkness, and Makat Bechorot, the death of the firstborn. We read, Vayakom Paro Laila, and Pharaoh got up in the night, even Pharaoh's not safe. Vatiyeh tza'ak gadol b'mitzrayim, and a great cry rose up out of Egypt. Ki ein bait asher ein sham met. There wasn't a single household in all the land of Egypt that didn't experience death. No family was spared. So the Hebrew word for plague is makah. It really means like a blow, hit. And as we approach almost a full year of living within a pandemic, an angel of death in our midst, as we hunker down in our homes and hope that that angel of death will pass over, the idea of a makah, a blow, a plague. It's not just metaphoric this year. We get it. Another Hebrew word that I want to draw our attention to is the name of the parsha, Bo. And that means go. Go to Pharaoh. Go. Get up out of Egypt. So this is the Torah portion where we have that first Passover feast. And we are sitting at those tables still in Egypt, mind you, with our sandals on our feet. We're getting ready to hoist our kneading bowls onto our back. No time for the bread to rise, and run to the sea of reeds. So our parsha falls on Inauguration Week. There are no coincidences. Initiating a new chapter in the life of our Jewish people and in the life of these United States, our nation. To shed some light on the meaning of this modern day national moment, I want to look more closely at that second to last plague, the plague of Choshech, darkness. So here's how it is described in the Hebrew. Lo ra'u ish et achiv, a person in that plague of darkness couldn't see his brother. It was so dark. Velo kamu ish mitachtav, and a person couldn't even get up from where he or she was seated. It's actually a little bit of an odd description. I mean, even in the deepest darkness, I can sort of find my way around a room. It doesn't make me not stand up. I don't walk with my eyes. So clearly, the plague of Choshech is talking about something more than just a visual experience. Lo kamu ish mitachtav can be a person couldn't get up from his or her place, but it can also mean a person couldn't get out from under it, out from under this darkness. And I think anyone who has experienced grief, a prolonged period of sadness or depression, or just this daily reality of living in a pandemic, day in, day out, no differentiation of time, we understand what it means not to be able to get out mitachtav, out from under the weight of it all, the not knowing, all of it, the darkness. But I think the root of the Egyptian immobility, the key to why there couldn't be any getting up from one's place, comes from the previous phrase, Lo ra'u ish et achiv, a person couldn't see his brother, his neighbor, her friend. That's why we were immobilized. I don't know about you, but I think I am still trying to wrap my mind, my consciousness around the images from a couple weeks ago when the Capitol was stormed. And all of the images in the weeks and months and even years preceding that one that led to that moment. Truly, as a nation, we have glimpsed the choshech, the darkness that unfolds when we cannot see our brother's face, our neighbor's face. But it wasn't so with the Jews, right? Like, we had that Passover meal, like one big happy family, and off we went on eagle's wings, they say. Off we went, our freedom journey to the Red Sea. But maybe it wasn't quite so simple. It never is when we look closer. So here's what the Hebrew said of our departure from Egypt. V'gam erev rav ala itam. But also there was an erev rav, a mixed multitude that went up out of Egypt with them. So what does that mean? Well, Rashi says maybe it means that it was like converts, people that chose to convert to monotheism and join us to the promised land. Off they went. Or maybe it was people who just, Egyptians who said, we're going too, let's get out of here. But either way, it is important to note that at this defining moment in our people's narrative, we were not homogenized. We were not just one thing. We were not the same, one from the other. We were an Erev Rav, but still we moved together. It's really the opposite of that image in the Plague of Darkness, where we're a family. We're sitting in our house, but we can't even move. We are so cut off from each other. We can't even see our brother's face. But a redemption journey, a freedom journey, a healing journey requires more. I think it requires two things described in this week's Torah portion. If we want to move to freedom and to healing, we need haste. We need urgency. We cannot wait for the bread to rise. Up and at 'em, up and out. And I quote now a few lines from our president's inaugural address, quote, "We will press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and possibility, much to repair." So urgency is a first ingredient as we move towards freedom and healing and a new chapter. But the second thing we need is an intention for unity. We need to come together even if we are an Erev Rav, a mixed multitude. We have to peel away that darkness and see each other's faces. And so once again, I quote our president. And so today, let us start afresh. All of us, let us listen to one another, hear one another, see one another. For we have much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. End quote. During that penultimate plague of darkness, we read, Ulechol Beit Yisrael haya or b'moshvotam. But all of the Jewish homes, the homes of the Hebrews, had light inside. You see, even if we've been beaten down by centuries of oppression, it is our calling as Jews to kindle light, not just on Hanukkah, of course, every Shabbat, as we just did, but even lights of memory. I'm thinking of those beautiful lights that were on either side of the Lincoln Memorial on the Erev of inauguration. For us, lights are about loss that can become entwined in hope. One thing our new president teaches us is about how to live through that which might almost break us, how to live through the darkness. For our president, the word Bo, it's not a Hebrew word. It's a name that points to his son, that points to unspeakable loss. But we know as Jews, and we know as Americans, that even though despair and darkness can paralyze us, we have to move through it. We have to move through a darkness that threatens to fracture us beyond repair. Even with its resonance of loss, that word Bo, as I just said, it means go, it means go, but it also means arrive. We said at the opening of our service, Boi chala, enter, O bride. In this hour of transformation, both in our Torah reading and in our nation, let us remember that even when the angel of death is palpably close, Ulechol b'nei Yisrael haya or b'moshvotam. All the Jews, they had light in their homes. We can kindle light. We can resolve to see each other's faces, even when we are an Erev Rav, a mixed multitude. It didn't stop us from becoming free. Politics need not be yet another fiery, destructive plague. As a nation, we can come together. We can begin to heal. Bo, this Shabbat, may our blessing be that we can move ahead and leave behind the divisiveness that we no longer need. Bo, we can set our sights on new arrivals, on a brighter future. I close again with the beautiful words of President Biden. This is America's day. This is democracy's day, a day of history and hope, a day of hope and renewal and resolve. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Tara. Beautiful, very moving, meaningful words. We turn now towards our conclusion. If you want to rise for Aleinu on page 282, please feel free to do so.
Before we begin the words of Aleinu, it's good to know Aleinu means it is upon us. The change that we're hoping to see, that we want to see in the world, is not something that simply happens. It takes all of us doing our part. And so in the second paragraph, which we often omit of Aleinu, we see the words letakein olam b'malchut Shaddai, for the sake of perfecting or fixing the world for the kingship of God. That's our responsibility. And it's not something that we do by building big walls or massive buildings. It's something about how we treat one another. And so before we close with the usual V'ne'emar on page 287, we'll visit some of the words, I believe, of Rabbi Chaim Stern at the top of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם דרכנו בהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש top of page 27.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, oh God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with joy of wholeness, of freedom and peace. V'nema v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo
As always, we remember loved ones before concluding. If you hear the name of a loved one, you want to rise, feel free to do so. We remember laid to rest this past week, Carrie Baker, beloved aunt of Faith, and Bob Sterling, and Marcy, who's also on. Jeffrey Dopout as well, laid to rest this past week. And those in the period of Shloshim, last 30 days, Michelle Shelley Bearer, Rosalind Berger, Rosalind Lemmer, Robert Gilbert, Beatrice Goldberg, and Jerry Tillis. And remember the Yortzeit of all those who passed at this time of year, the Shabbat of this past week. Lawrence Adelman, David Blumstein, Edith Brilloff, Francois Chapnick, Rose Erlanger, Philip Freeman, Maurice A. Gladstone, Jeanette L. Gladstone, Joan Harf, Sandra Hershon, Alfred Coppell, Ula Landau, Fanny Parmet, Louis Kessner, Jack Scholar, Irene Shore, and Tony Shore, Edwin Steiner, and Frida Walder. As I said, if you'd like to share the name of a loved one, please do so in the chat. I'll add as well someone who Hank Aaron, not a Jew, but a really wonderful, righteous human being who I had the pleasure of watching play in Atlanta when I would visit my grandparents quite a few times, actually. So it's a loss for the world. He was a blessing, I believe. So the Mourner's Kaddish is on 294. If you'd like to rise, feel free, please, to do so. Yikadal v'yikadash shemer Rabba.
Amen.
V'yalma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yamechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen.
Yehei
Shmei Rabba mevorach leolam u'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu.
Richu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'yalma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. And let us say one last
Amen.
time, Amen. Okay, a few announcements. First of all, to thank Cantor Adam and Shai. Beautiful, beautiful soul-raising tefillah prayers. Thank you both. Virtual Oneg hosted by Dorit Title. Thank you so much, Dorit. Stay on afterwards. Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Shabbat lay-led service at 10:30. Havdalah tomorrow evening at 6:15. The ongoing Mourner Support Group with Rabbi Tara on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. RSV to Daphna. Cantor Adam, the Torah Trope and Yad Squad. Thursday the 28th, in a week or so, 7 p.m. On the 24th, is Tu B'Shvat, birthday of the trees, and 10 in the morning for a special experience. And on February 6th, that's in 2 weeks, 2 Saturdays from tomorrow morning, a really wonderful guest speaker, Daniel Zarin, will be speaking the title, Climate Chaos, Why the Next Decade and Our Choices Matter More Than Ever. Thank you to Mike and Renee for bringing Daniel into the world. And we'll have lots of Beth-Ellers chanting Torah and participating in the service. And thank you, Jen Still, Schiff, for all the organizing you do with Cantor Adam and Tara and Daphne, and so many others. On the 5th, Friday, February 5th, 2 Fridays from now, will be our next Modim moment, as it were. And so start sending in your slides. We're encouraging you, and I don't know, share with us a wedding slide, a wedding picture, something from some simcha in your life, either very recent or not so recent. Send it in by February 3rd. And the next 2 Friday nights, we'll have our Modim slideshow. Basically, each month, the first Friday of the month, we will have one with a different theme. So, all right. Again, happy birthday, Mazel Tov to you, Roberta, and to you, David. It's wonderful. May you both live to be 120. May you feel how much of a gift you are, a blessing you are to the world. And thank you. Well, we'll get to challah to the Margalofs, but before we do, Kiddush and Motzi, Arlene, in honor of your birthday, which was on the 19th, 3 days ago. So why don't we turn, did I leave anything out, Cantor?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. Arlene Nevins will lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. Greg, if you can find Arlene, great.
Okay, and that is, I share a birthday with Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King. So.
Ah, wow, right. Okay, amazing.
So, whoops. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Go on, Cantor. You didn't expect me to do the whole rest of it, did you?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu, v'shabat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom dechila lemikrai kodesh, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. And Motzi, Arlene.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Enjoy your challah, you, Arlene, and to all of you, and thank you, and a very happy birthday, and many more for you as well, Arlene. And Cantor, we close with
Yes, let's just wish one another quite simply. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Have a beautiful evening.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everybody. Roberta, happy